The second the grid fails, your fridge becomes dead weight. Food spoils, meds go bad. You're left with warm milk, rotting meat, and no backup plan. Most people haven't even thought about it, but if the power goes down for days or weeks, you'll wish you had. Because this isn't just about comfort, it's about survival. And the good news? You don't need a $10,000 solar setup to keep your food cold. You just need a plan. One that works before the lights go out. One that keeps you fed, calm, and in control when everything else falls apart. You ready? Let's build it. Here's what most people think they'll do when the power goes out. Just run their regular fridge for a few hours a day using their car or a generator. Easy fix, right? Wrong. That's a short-term move at best. And if the grid goes down for real, days, weeks, maybe longer, that plan falls apart fast. A full-size fridge uses a lot more power than people realize. On average, it pulls between 3,000 to 4,000 watts per day. That's about 400 amp hours every single day. Unless you've got a massive solar array or a garage full of batteries, there's no way you're keeping that thing running long-term. Some people try the car trick, hooking an inverter to the vehicle, running it for an hour, and using that to cool the fridge. It can work, but it's risky. If you damage the alternator or drain your car's battery, you just took out your emergency transport for a sandwich, and in a crisis, your car is way too valuable to gamble with. Then there's the problem with food safety. Every time the fridge shuts off, the temperature inside starts climbing. Once it hits 40 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, you're in the danger zone. Bacteria starts growing. Stuff thaws, then refreezes, then thaws again. And that might be okay once or twice, but stretch that out over a few days? Now you've got spoiled food and no backup plan. This isn't about convenience. It's about not getting sick. It's about not wasting hundreds of dollars in food. And it's about not relying on a fragile system to keep your most basic need, food, safe. So, yeah, running your main fridge for a few hours a day might sound smart. But in a real collapse, it's the first thing that fails. You need a better option. And it starts with going smaller. If you want cold food when the power goes out, forget the giant fridge in your kitchen. It's a power hog. What you need is something smaller, tighter, and way more efficient. A chest freezer and a mini fridge. This combo isn't just for people with limited space. It's for anyone who wants to actually keep food cold without needing a $20,000 solar setup. A small chest freezer and a compact mini fridge can run 24/7 on minimal power. That means your food stays safe. Constant temperature, no warming up, no cycles of spoilage and refreezing. Let's break down the numbers. A 5 cubic foot chest freezer runs around 500 to 600 watts per day. That's nothing. And a 2.6 cubic foot mini fridge? Only about 350 watts per day. Combine the two, and you're looking at 850 watts total per day. Compare that to the 3,500 plus watts your full-size fridge needs, and the difference is massive. And this setup is quiet, simple, easy to power with a small battery bank and a few solar panels. No guessing, no starting and stopping, no wondering if your food is still cold enough to eat. Here's the real win. You don't have to wait for disaster to make use of it. Use it daily. Store extra meat. Keep overflow drinks or produce cold. That way, when the grid goes down, your system's already running. No scrambling, no setup. This setup also buys you time. You don't need to eat all your cold food in one day. You don't need to panic and throw stuff away. You stay calm. You keep control. So if you're building real preparedness, not fantasy prepping, ditch the oversized power suckers. Get smart. Get small. And start building a cold storage system that actually works when things get ugly. You don't need to go off-grid overnight. If you're just getting started, there's a simple, budget-friendly way to keep your food cold when the power cuts out. One LiFePO4 battery, a 600-watt inverter, and a little bit of planning. Here's how it works. Grab a 100 amp-hour lithium iron phosphate battery. They're safer, longer-lasting, and hold steady power. Pair that with a 600-watt inverter to convert the DC battery power into usable AC power. Plug your mini fridge and chest freezer into that inverter, and you've got instant backup. For most emergencies, short-term blackouts, sudden storms, or grid failures that last a day or two, this setup is enough to run both units for a full 24 hours. That's one full day where your food stays cold, your meds stay safe, and you're not panicking like everyone else. Here's the best part. You don't have to be a tech expert to do this. Plug the battery into your inverter and the inverter into your appliances. That's it. No complicated wiring, no huge panels, just one portable battery giving you real peace of mind. Of course, this isn't a forever fix. When that battery runs out, you'll need to recharge it somehow. That's where things like solar, generators, or even your car's inverter come in. But more on that later. The point is, this is your first line of defense. It's your fast, reliable solution when everything else goes dark. You can set it up today, charge it, leave it. And when the lights go out, you're ready to flip a switch while everyone else watches their food rot. Start here, build this first. Because one good battery isn't just backup, it's breathing room when the grid collapses. So you've got your mini fridge and freezer running on a 100 amp hour battery. That gets you through the first 24 hours. But what happens on day 2? Now it's all about recharging and doing it smart, safe, and fast. Let's start with solar. It's the cleanest, quietest, and most sustainable option long term. But you'll need more than one panel. A single 100-watt panel won't cut it. Best case, it gives you 50 to 60% of your battery back in a day. That's not enough to keep things running. To get a full charge, you'll need at least 2 100-watt solar panels, or even better, 3. Set them up facing the sun for as many hours as possible. No shade, no clouds. The more sun you catch, the faster you recharge. And don't forget the charge controller. That little box manages the energy flow from your panels into your battery, making sure nothing gets fried. You don't need a huge expensive one, just something that handles the amperage your panels push out. Now, if the sun's not your friend, or you want backup for cloudy days, a generator works too. Gas, propane, dual fuel, whatever you can store and manage. Use the generator to recharge the battery directly, or to power the fridge setup during the day while your battery rests. Still stuck? Your car's inverter is a last resort option. It'll work, but it's not ideal long term. Use it only if you have no solar or generator available, and make sure you don't drain your vehicle's battery. Bottom line, having a way to recharge daily is what turns a one-day solution into long-term resilience. Whether it's panels, fuel, or cables, get your recharge plan locked down before disaster hits. Because cold food means nothing if you can't keep it that way. One battery buys you 24 hours. But what if the power stays off for 2 days, or 5, or more? That's when you need to move past backup and into rotation, and that starts with a 2-battery setup. Here's how it works. You run your fridge and freezer on battery A for 24 hours. While that's happening, you use battery B, charged by solar or generator, to refill. The next day, you switch. Now battery B runs your setup and you recharge battery A. You keep leapfrogging day by day, and just like that, you've built a sustainable system that can last indefinitely, as long as the sun shines or you've got fuel. No need to tie the batteries together, just swap them daily. Keep one in use, one charging. This method keeps you from ever hitting zero. You're never stuck in the dark, and your food stays cold the entire time. This is the sweet spot for preppers. It gives you flexibility, long-term reliability, and peace of mind without needing a wall full of batteries or a rooftop solar farm. 2 100 amp-hour lithium iron phosphate batteries. 2 panels, 1 inverter, 1 simple routine, and it scales. Add a 3rd battery later, add a panel when you can afford it. But even just this 2-battery loop gives you full control over your refrigeration. Remember, collapse doesn't mean everything fails instantly. It might start with rolling blackouts, grid instability, limited access to fuel. And when that happens, this system makes sure you're already one step ahead. You're not just keeping food cold, you're buying time, stability, a sense of normal when everything around you feels anything but. Start with 2 batteries, that's your foundation. From there, you build real resilience. Here's where prepping turns into real-life value. A refrigeration system that works every day, not just during emergencies. Most people think emergency gear should sit on a shelf, collecting dust until disaster hits. But that's not how smart prepping works. If you're going to invest time and money into cold storage, why not get full-time use out of it? That's exactly what a permanent chest freezer and mini fridge setup gives you. Use it as your overflow fridge. Keep meats, drinks, extra meals, frozen goods, whatever your main fridge can't hold. This keeps the system running every day, so when disaster hits, there's no switch to flip. It's already running, already cold, already part of your routine. That means no scrambling to transfer food, No hoping the fridge cools down in time. No guessing if it still works. And more importantly, it means less waste. You're not waiting for collapse to get value. You're using it now. The numbers still make sense. A mini fridge at 350 watts per day, a 5 cu-foot chest freezer at 500 watts per day. Together, they pull less than 1 kilowatt daily, easily supported by 2 to 3 100-watt solar panels and 2 100 amp-hour lithium iron phosphate batteries. That's your full cycle. Charge during the day, run all night, repeat. You don't need a fancy solar wall, a small charge controller, a clean inverter, a few cables. That's it. Once you wire it up safely, it just works. Quietly, reliably, every single day. And when the grid finally does drop, you're not racing to salvage what's in your fridge. You're already covered. That's what real preparedness looks like. Not a dusty emergency plan, but a daily system that keeps working when the world doesn't. Build it once. Use it every day. Rely on it when it matters most. Let's be real. When everything crashes, people don't panic over gadgets. They panic over food. When the shelves are empty, the power's off, and the fridge goes warm, that's when it gets real. Having working refrigeration in a full-scale collapse changes everything. While others are rushing to cook all their meat in a panic or watching milk spoil by the hour, you're calm. Your freezer's still running. Your fridge is still cold. You're eating real food, meat, eggs, dairy, leftovers, while everyone else is surviving on crackers and canned beans. And it's not just about what's on the plate. It's about stability, about keeping your kids fed, your spouse calm, yourself focused. It's the difference between feeling like everything's gone off the rails and knowing you've got a system that's still running when nothing else is. Got insulin or meds that need refrigeration? That mini fridge might literally save a life. Got kids that need milk? You'll have it. Got extra meat? It won't spoil, it'll be stored. Safe, secure, and ready. Even in short-term disasters, a week-long blackout, a storm, a power grid failure, you're not scrambling. You're not part of the crowd lining up for ice or throwing hundreds of dollars of food in the trash. And this isn't some giant, unreachable goal. This is a chest freezer, a mini fridge, 2 batteries, a few panels, less than what most people spend on a phone or a weekend trip. You're not just storing food. You're keeping normal alive. You're keeping morale up. You're holding onto a piece of control when the world feels like it's slipping. That's why this matters. Not because it's fancy, but because when everything goes dark, you'll be one of the few people still standing in the light, with a fridge full of food. When the power goes out, most people lose more than electricity. They lose control. Food spoils, panic sets in, they react too late. But not you. Because now you've got a plan. A system that works today, tomorrow, and when everything else fails. It's simple, it's sustainable, and it keeps you fed, calm, and ahead of the chaos. You don't need to wait for disaster to start building it. Piece it together, one step at a time. Because when the grid collapses, hope won't keep your food cold, but preparation will. Start now, while you still can, before the lights go out for good.